I'm Sarah Freeman, Editor of Business and Finance. Welcome to Business and Finance's Executive Insight Series, where we speak to business leaders about their insights into strategy, success and overcoming challenges. Today, I'm joined by Sean Coyle, CEO of Origin Enterprises. Sean, you're very welcome and thank you for joining us today. Now, Origin Enterprises was chosen as Company of the Month for June 2023. What were some of the key business strategies that you think culminated in that nomination?
Well, what we've been focused on for the last 3 years really is preparing the business for greater environmental regulation, which is really going to impact the business in the coming years. We've begun to transition some of our products and some of our services to offer more services and capability to the farming customers that we have in that space. And we've also begun to diversify our earnings base by acquiring businesses in the environmental and ecology sectors.
Okay, so a lot of work going on behind the scenes there.
Absolutely.
And you became Group CEO of Origin Enterprises in 2020, I believe, and you've been with the company for 5 years. What changes have you seen the company undergo over that time?
Well, there have been a number of challenges over that period of time. Obviously, we had COVID originally in 2020, and with that, the transition to hybrid working in the aftermath of COVID. We did replace a significant amount of our executive team. We had a generational shift in some of the management group there. We've had huge volatility in commodity prices over the last 2 years in particular, post the Ukraine war for a start, and we have a business in Ukraine, and we've seen significant changes in gas prices which directly impact the fertiliser products that we sell. We've had significant changes in pricing around transportation and manufacturing of products which impact other parts of the product range that we offer. And we've had greater and bigger environmental legislation bearing down on the business as well. So we've had a significant number of challenges for the business, and we've coped reasonably well with those, I think.
Some dramatic changes there, and I suppose it's a natural segue to my next question. What personal characteristics do you bring to the organisation, and how has that helped navigate some of those changes?
Well, for a start, it's not about me, it's about the team as a whole and the capability of the team as a whole. So I think it's hugely important to identify the right team to have around you, and my CFO, TJ Kelly, has been a very important person in delivering the change for the organisation. We have, I suppose, delivered a significant amount of change for the group as a whole through that period of time, and importantly, characteristics such as hunger and ambition for the group driving organic growth within the businesses has been important, but at the same time recognising that there are plenty of external factors which impact the business, and maintaining a cool head, allowing the team to be supported in those circumstances is important.
Right, so it's all about the teamwork and having the right people around you, I suppose. And what advice would you give to other companies who are driving for similar success?
Well, I think some of the key things that we've been focused on are building the right team, setting goals which are achievable and manageable, from a day-to-day perspective and a year-in, year-out perspective, while keeping the longer-term focus of the company in mind. So transition does not happen quickly, and particularly in the agricultural sector, which faces challenges on an annual basis, particularly in relation to weather.
So short-term goals are as important as long-term goals. So Sean, did COVID change Origin Enterprises, and if so, how?
Not significantly. I mean, agriculture was lucky enough to be considered an essential service through the lockdown period. So there were some changes to the office-based staff, which continue to this day, I guess, with hybrid working and so on. But generally speaking, the agriculture sector remained pretty robust. In fact, what impacted us more in 2020 was weather in an Ireland and UK context. So that had a very significant impact on profitability in that year.
Right, interesting. And I suppose on that note, what do you see as other considerable issues facing companies providing advice and digital solutions to professionals in agriculture and ecology markets?
Well, one of the things that we're very focused on are changing our product set and changing our advice set to cope with the environmental demands that farmers and our customers will face. So we're very focused on changing our fertiliser blends to make them more efficient and yet produce the same yield. So we can produce the same yield now with 20% less nitrogen in the product, a far more efficient product, and essentially the farmer has less emissions as a result of that. We use our digital tools to support our agronomists in giving advice on the variable rate application of seed, fertiliser and other products, so that they can apply products in the right quantities in fields and yet use a lesser amount of product in an overall context. And we're developing environmental land management scheme advice as well, and have been extending our advisory areas into that space.
Okay, so constantly refining with the really innovative products and solutions, obviously.
Absolutely.
And I suppose in general, how do you view Ireland's performance in this sector?
Well, overall, Ireland has a very strong agricultural sector, and I think we're leaders in the global sphere there. When you look at the businesses that have come out of the cooperative movement, there's a number of strong international PLCs such as Glanbia and Kerry, which have come out of the cooperative movement. We have a very strong cooperative base here in the Irish marketplace, and agriculture, I think, is a key indigenous industry. You know, apart from the FDI industries that we have here, agriculture is a key industry for the Irish economy.
And on that note, is there anything further policymakers could do to help support the sector?
Well, definitely. I mean, I'd like to see the debate move away from environment versus agriculture, and I think there's too much focus on the challenge of environment versus agriculture. Agriculture is a big contributor to the overall greenhouse gas emissions of Ireland, but I think we need to think about Europe, rather than outsourcing all of its food production to other economies by way of trade agreements, looking at the opportunities to maintain food production from a food security perspective in Ireland and in Europe in general, and using that optimization of yield and the opportunities that exist around that to do it in a more efficient way for the environment.
Right, and you raised a very interesting point there, environment versus agriculture. Is that generally how the situation is seen?
I think it's been very much part of the debate and the challenge in Ireland in recent months, and I think we need to move beyond that and look at the opportunity to see that both can exist side by side. So developing opportunities around the environment and bringing the farmer body with us on that journey is hugely important.
Right, so they're not mutually exclusive.
Absolutely.
And I think we've time for one last question. What do you see as some of the major opportunities for Origin Enterprises in the coming months and years?
Well, we intend to continue to expand and continue to grow, so we are acquiring further agricultural businesses around the globe, but we're also looking at the opportunity to diversify our Ireland and UK income streams through the acquisition of amenity, environmental and ecology businesses in Ireland and UK, but also potentially in Western Europe. So we're looking to grow in that sphere too.
Exciting times ahead. Sean, thanks so much for joining us today. Well, that's all we have time for this episode of Business and Finance's Executive Insight Series in association with KPMG. Thank you for joining us. You can find more episodes of Executive Insights on www.businessandfinance.com and on YouTube and Spotify.